Wake up. You're in the matrix and you don't even realize it. What if I told you you've never actually touched the real world? Not once, not ever. You're wasting away your life being an NPC in everyone else's game when you could be the architect of your own reality. Everything you've seen, tasted, and felt your entire life has happened inside a perfectly structured illusion, a hallucination so smooth, so convincing, you forgot it was even there. Some have called it Maya, others call it the simulation. We will simply call it the Matrix. But this isn't about a movie or a metaphor or a story or a symbol. And you're not in the Matrix because of some robot apocalypse. You're in it because your mind, your real self, the eternal, dimensionless you needed to be. You needed something that could trick you into believing that you were just a body, so that one day you would fight to remember that you're not. See, when most people think of the Matrix, they think of Neo, Morpheus, and green numbers flowing down a screen. They don't even realize that they are living in the Matrix right now at this moment. They think it's all just a movie. They believe it's all just entertainment. But as Morpheus asked Neo, what is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain. Even science, for all its limitations, does a great job describing the Matrix. That's exactly what science is. It's simply a tool for navigating the simulation. Science will tell you that the reality you experience every day is not true reality, but rather signals in your brain reacting to input. Look, this matrix you call reality is not the final level. All it is a playing ground for you. As much as you may feel you want to escape, that's not the true mission. The mission is to outgrow it. It's time to remember why you logged into the matrix in the first place. The matrix is the shared dream. Think about this. Every night when you go to sleep, you dream, whether you remember it or not. In those dreams, you create entire worlds, characters, scenes. Your unconscious mind builds reality from pure thought. And while you're inside that dream, you can't tell it isn't real. It feels completely real. Sometimes it's so real, you wake up dripping with sweat from a nightmare, or your heart pounding from falling off a cliff that never existed. But here's what's incredible. When you wake up, the dream vanishes. Yet while you were in it, it was indistinguishable from your waking reality. So if your dream can feel that real, who's to say that when you're awake, you're not still dreaming? You are. You're just participating in a different kind of dream. You see, your individual dreams are unstable because you're the sole creator. Your unconscious mind jumps from thought to thought, creating chaos. That's why dream logic is so scattered. But what you call waking reality, that's the collective dream, the shared dream of infinite minds, infinite monads, or souls, all dreaming together. That's why your waking world feels stable, not because it's actually physical and solid, but because it's the consensus reality of infinite dreamers. Imagine if your personal dream wasn't just yours, but shared with your family, your friends, your entire community. It would be much harder to control, wouldn't it? Much more stable. Now multiply that by infinite minds. That's how the world maintains its apparent solidity. This shared dream is where the matrix is born. It's the playground where eternal minds come to learn, evolve, and level up. This isn't about dodging bullets or fighting Agent Smith. It's about understanding how the universe operates beneath the surface, like code running under a video game. The Matrix isn't some evil machine holding you hostage. It's a necessary part of a deeper system, a sandbox simulation where your mind, the real you, comes to experience time, space, pain, joy, failure, growth, all the things a raw, infinite mind can't grasp while floating in perfect unity. Most people never question this place because it's so convincing. It feels solid, It feels external, but it's not. The Matrix is more like a lucid dream shared by billions of minds, all learning through cause and effect, through pattern and consequence. It's the classroom, the gym, the battlefield, whatever you need to face to wake up to what you really are, an eternal, dimensionless mind embedded in a universe of pure mathematics. And here's the twist that changes everything. The Matrix isn't your enemy, it's your training ground. You're not here to escape it like some prison break. You're here to beat it like a game, to master it, outgrow it, and eventually transcend it by understanding how it works. The Matrix isn't made of matter, it's made of math. Not physical, but perfectly structured. A projection that infinite minds interface with through the shared consensus of the collective dream. So when we say Matrix, we don't mean Hollywood sci-fi. We're pointing to the same truth mystics called Maya, the same illusion philosophers hinted at for centuries. But now, we're armed with the mathematics to prove it. We're not guessing anymore. We're decoding the source code of the shared dream. And that brings us to the next question. How does this matrix actually work? The matrix works the way a dream works, only with rules, mathematical rules. We're not talking about karma or what goes around comes around. We're talking strict, hard-coded logic, frequencies, waveforms, and harmonics that govern every particle of your experience. You are not inside this system, you're operating it from the outside. Think of it like this. You know how in the movie Neo experiences the Matrix while his real body is in that pod? Same concept, different mechanism. You're not physically in a pod controlled by machines. You're something far more extraordinary, a monad, an eternal, dimensionless mind existing outside time and space entirely. You're controlling your body the way someone pilots a drone. The body is inside the matrix. You are not. You're operating from a realm of pure mathematics, projecting your consciousness into this shared simulation. At the core of it all are these dimensionless minds, what ontological mathematics calls monads. These aren't physical things floating in space, they're pure points of logic, eternal and immaterial, each one running its own internal code. You are one of these minds. To experience growth, you need contrast, you need resistance, you need something to push against. That's where the matrix comes in. The matrix is a collective projection. Think of it like a multiplayer sandbox rendered by the overlapping thought wave patterns of infinite monads. Every person you see, also a monad, also projecting into this shared space. Together, you're all co-creating this apparently solid reality through synchronized mathematical interference patterns. It's not made of particles, it's made of math. The rules of space, time, causality, even death are all constraints necessary for your evolution. Just like the walls in a gym aren't there to trap you, but to give shape to your workout, the matrix gives shape to your mind's potential. Without it, you wouldn't even know you exist. This entire matrix is built from sinusoidal energy. Everything you see, touch, taste, or think about is ultimately frequency combinations. Euler's formula, the heart of the complex number system, is literally the secret code beneath reality. It's the formula that allows minds to generate space-time through interference patterns. You don't live in a universe of things, you live in a universe of patterns. You helped create this. Not just the good parts, all of it. The whole experience you're having right now, your circumstances, your challenges, your victories, your failures, you had a hand in designing before you logged into this avatar. For some, that's the most empowering realization possible. For others, it's absolutely terrifying, especially if you've spent your life blaming everyone else for your circumstances. You're not a victim in someone else's game. You're a player who chose this particular level, this specific set of challenges, because your eternal mind knew it needed exactly these experiences to evolve. Mainstream religions can't handle this truth. You can never check out. You're an eternal mind. When you detach from this body, you'll just get another avatar and continue the journey. There's no escape hatch, no final rest. just infinite evolution through infinite experiences. Taking responsibility isn't just spiritual advice, it's mathematical necessity. You're not going anywhere. You might as well level up. The Matrix is both personal and shared. You get your own unique avatar, your body, to play the game, but you're also interacting with everyone else's projections. That's what makes it feel so real. The stability of consensus reality. Behind the scenes, it's still your mind interpreting mathematical signals. It's still you behind the joystick. This explains everything the religions couldn't. Why bad things happen, why suffering exists, why the world can seem so chaotic and unfair. It's not punishment, it's not random, it's the collective creation of billions of minds, all working through their own evolutionary challenges simultaneously. Evil isn't a bug in the system, it's a necessary feature, the contrast that makes growth possible. Even when you understand how the Matrix functions, how it teaches, how it evolves you, something still feels off sometimes. You can't explain it. Maybe it's deja vu. Maybe it's a moment where the world glitches, like a scene in a movie you've already watched but can't quite remember. Whatever it is, it haunts you. Like some buried part of you knows this isn't the whole story. Those moments aren't accidents. They're breadcrumbs. Reminders from your deeper self that you're playing a game, not living in ultimate reality. Once you start noticing them, you can't unsee the code. If the Matrix is so perfect, so seamless, why do some people start to sense that something's off? Why do certain moments hit you like a shock to the system, like reality just cracked open for a second? Those moments are the glitches. You've had them before. Everyone has. You just didn't know what they were. You wrote them off. You moved on. But those glitches aren't random. They're breadcrumbs, tiny fractures in the simulation, reminding you this isn't the real world. It's the training ground. Deja vu is the most obvious one. That strange, chilling sense that you've lived this exact moment before. Not similar, exact. The same room, the same people, the same feeling. For a few seconds, it's like you're caught in a loop, because you are. The Matrix glitched and your mind caught it. Then there are the dreams that feel more real than reality. You wake up thinking, where was I just now? That wasn't just a dream. That was your mind remembering what it's like to be untethered from the simulation. Your monad briefly disconnecting from the avatar. Consider the programming you never chose. Your name, your language, your religion, your political preferences, all uploaded into you before you could walk or talk. You didn't think those were glitches, but they are. You were programmed, just like software running on hardware. That's the Matrix installing your operating parameters. Synchronicities are another tell. Coincidences so precise they unnerve you. You think of someone and they text you. Life seems rigged with meaning, just hidden behind a thin veil. It is rigged. Those aren't accidents. They're deliberate trigger points. Your deeper mind breaking through the simulation's boundaries. Sometimes the glitch is just a feeling, like you're watching the world through glass, like everything's slightly off, and no one around you notices. That's your consciousness pulling back from the game, like a lucid dreamer realizing they're dreaming. The uncanny valley of human behavior, moments when people around you seem scripted, robotic, running on autopilot. Because they often are, most minds are still unconscious, operating through pre-programmed responses rather than conscious choice. These glitches don't prove you're in the Matrix. They remind you. They remind you that this reality isn't final. It's not absolute. It's not where your story ends. It's where it begins. Once you start noticing the glitches, you can't go back. You can't unsee the code. But this raises the obvious question. You know the Matrix is real. You know it's concealing deeper truth. Why would something so deceptive be necessary? Let's get something straight. This whole system, this Matrix, wasn't some accident. It's not a glitch or a punishment or some cosmic joke. It's necessary, not in a because some God said so way, but in a cold, logical, mathematical sense. The matrix exists because consciousness needs a proving ground, a sandbox, a mirror. Without it, minds stay asleep, drifting in a sea of perfect stillness with nothing to push against, nothing to reflect off of. No friction, no fire, no growth. Picture this. You're a mind made of pure mathematical energy. No body, no senses, just infinite potential, floating in eternal stillness. Sounds peaceful, right? But how do you know anything? How do you develop self-awareness if there's no contrast, no pain, no resistance? You don't. You're in a kind of perfect coma. Eternal, yes, but also unconscious. The matrix is what wakes you up. It's the alarm clock built into reality. The source, the eternal domain of pure being, projects this matrix as a self-reflective simulation. A place where minds can fracture just enough to see themselves from the outside. That's what makes growth possible. In the matrix, you face time, mortality, failure, desire, confusion, chaos. All the experiences you can't have in the perfect symmetry of the source. By struggling with those forces, you slowly become aware of what you are and what you're capable of. Think of it as a cosmic gym. Nobody builds muscle without resistance. No mind becomes divine without dealing with disorder. The matrix is that necessary disorder. It breaks you into pieces so you can learn how to rebuild yourself consciously, using reason and logic, not instincts and impulses. That's the difference between staying asleep and leveling up. This is built into the architecture of reality itself. The source has to project the matrix. It's not a choice, it's a mathematical inevitability. Just like numbers unfold according to strict patterns, existence unfolds through this cycle: unity, separation, return. That's the hero's journey encoded into the fabric of reality. You start in the source, get thrown into the matrix, and spend lifetime after lifetime fighting your way back. Not by erasing the game, but by mastering it. The matrix is hard, it's full of entropy, but that's exactly why it works. You don't grow by staying comfortable. You grow by facing dragons. In this game, the dragon is always you. The parts you haven't understood, the patterns you haven't mastered, the illusions you haven't pierced. But this raises an obvious question. If the matrix is so necessary for growth, if it's mathematically required for consciousness to evolve, then why does it feel like such a nightmare? Why does it seem so evil, so broken, so completely messed up? If this matrix is supposed to help us evolve, why does it feel so rigged? Why does it seem like the worst people rise to power, the smartest people get ignored, and everything good gets twisted into something ugly? The uncomfortable truth is this: the matrix isn't broken. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's designed to challenge you at every level, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. It's not here to make you feel safe. It's here to show you who you really are when you've got nothing left to lean on but your own mind. It feels evil sometimes, because from the inside, chaos looks like chaos. But from the outside, from the source's perspective, it's structure, it's necessary conflict, like fire melting down metal so it can be reshaped into something stronger. We're not here as finished products. We're raw, rough, full of contradictions. The matrix forces all of it to the surface: greed, fear, ego, ignorance. It turns the volume up so loud you can't ignore it. That's not failure. That's the point. Until you see the illusion for what it is, you'll keep playing the game like it's real, chasing money, fame, power, pleasure, thinking this is all there is. Look around. The reason this world feels like a slaughterhouse isn't because reality is evil. It's because most minds are still in their infancy. They're stuck in base instincts, feeding, fighting, repeating the same unconscious patterns over and over. That's why people elect clowns to run empires. That's why war is still glorified. That's why intelligence is mocked and truth is ignored. The matrix reflects the state of collective mind. And right now, most of it is still asleep. But you don't have to stay asleep. The matrix isn't meant to be cozy. It's meant to agitate you, to annoy you, frustrate you, and make you ask the one question that changes everything. What is going on here? That's the moment you wake up. Not out of the matrix, but inside it. You stop seeing it as this random, painful world and start seeing the patterns. You start spotting the code. Once that happens, you can start playing the game like a lucid dreamer, fully aware, fully conscious, and on a mission. The matrix isn't broken, it's brutally efficient. It's a mirror that shows you everything you need to see in order to evolve if you've got the courage to face it. Which brings us to the final question. What does winning the matrix even mean? How do you beat a system that's everywhere, that restarts every time you die? Let's kill the fantasy first. You don't escape the matrix by running away. There's no back door, no spaceship, no underground rebel squad waiting to unplug you. That's movie talk. In the real matrix, the one built from pure math in mind, you win not by leaving, but by transcending. And that doesn't mean floating away on some mystical cloud. It means one thing. You wake up inside the system, realize what it is, and start operating from a higher level of consciousness. That's the real red pill. You win by becoming lucid. Like in a dream when you suddenly realize, wait, this isn't real. And the whole thing shifts. You stop reacting to the chaos and start understanding the structure. You stop chasing pleasure or avoiding pain and start decoding the system. You realize this whole thing is built for one purpose, your evolution. Winning means reducing entropy in your own mind. It means trading emotional chaos for rational clarity. It means facing your fears, your shadows, your ego, and dismantling them with logic. That's what real power looks like. Not power over others, power over yourself. Once you start living that way, rational, conscious, awake, you begin to change your frequency. Your mind becomes more symmetric, more coherent. You think in patterns, you act with intention. Slowly, you stop being played by the game and start playing it. You don't win the matrix with violence. You don't beat it with money or status or followers. You win it by becoming the type of mind it can no longer control. A mind that doesn't fall for illusions. A mind that can't be manipulated. A mind that thinks in universals. Not just what's good for me, but what's true for everyone. That's what takes you beyond the matrix. That's how the game ends. Not with a bang, but with full understanding. When you truly know the rules of the system and your role in it, you stop being a character in the story and start becoming the author. And the author doesn't escape the matrix, he reprograms it.